Hello and welcome back to the Villa Filler podcast. I'm riding solo today. Dan is in sunny Seville. So the Villa Filler will only be half as good because there's only half of us here. I apologise for the sound and just the video quality as well. If you guys are listening on Spotify, you should be fine. But people are watching on YouTube, the camera's awful. I'm at my parents' house. It's my birthday weekend, so I didn't bring all the equipment back, but we've got the mic, so we're sounding good. Lighting's not brilliant, but if I turned another light on, this you just literally wouldn't see a thing. This webcam's like a potato. Nevertheless, I'm here to preview our game against Crystal Palace. Now, this is an interesting one because Palace they've had two very tough tests in the first two games. They've played Arsenal in the opening game, got beaten 2-0. And then Liverpool, where they actually got points on the road at Anfield. Everybody watched the game on Monday night. You'd have all seen Darwin Núñez get headbutt Joachim Anderson and get sent off. Just going to be a mini preview just to kind of run through this game, how I think we're going to do, how I think we may line up. And I've had a lot of time to think about the Everton game. I've seen it a lot. I've watched it back again. I watched Match of the Day a couple of times, and I still maintain the opinion that I thought we actually played all right. I thought it was good. We for large portions of the game we dominated possession, which is to be expected at home, and we never really put ourselves under too much pressure. I think set pieces are still a massive point of contention for Villa. How we defend set pieces has to improve. Obviously, Everton had the goal that was disallowed from that early on, which almost would have changed the whole outcome of the game. Really, going 1-0 behind so early on, that's not obviously ideal, is it? But I look at Crystal Palace, and I think in both of their games they fought very hard, and the outcome of mainly more the Arsenal game certainly doesn't paint a full picture on how they performed. A 2-0 loss at home, opening game of the season. When you look at the stats, both teams had 10 shots, only 2 on target. It just so happened to be that Arsenal's 2 shots went in. One thing that when I was researching the team surprised me, Jeffrey Schlupp has been anchoring the midfield alongside their new signing, Cheek Doucouré, I believe it is. I think that's his name. But when I was surprised to see Schlupp in there because Schlupp is somebody who has been around for the longest time, and I was surprised to know he was only 29. I couldn't believe it. He was part of the Leicester squad that won the league, wasn't he? It feels like he's been around for eternity. He's only 29. That's fantastic. But I look at that midfield too, and I think on Monday night, Liverpool do it so well because they're Liverpool, but in the half spaces between the defensive midfielders and the centre halves, they picked up the ball so well, and they really got under Crystal Palace's skin. And I think this is something we have to look to exploit, because I think Doucouré, he's new to the league, he's a fantastic player. I think we did a filler on him like back in January, or we were linked with him. I'm sure you guys would have seen that, but I think Schlupp, he's a Swiss Army player, right? He can kind of play left back, left mid. We've seen him play attacking mid at 10 times, kind of slotting in as in the double pivot. And I guess he kind of aids Palace in the transition, which is probably part of the reason why he's there. I don't really have him down as much of a defensive midfielder. And when you look at how Villa played against Everton, how we lined up, it was the 4-4-2 diamond. I do think we'll see that again, if I'm being completely honest, as long as everybody's fit, and it looks like they are. And I think first of all, you have to occupy the centre halves with the 2 strikers. That's great. Whoever plays in that number 10 position, whether that be Emi Buendia or Philippe Coutinho, I'll let you guys debate who should start in the comments. Let me know. But that role is going to be so important in this game, because you have to get under the skin of this pairing that has, they've only played 2 games together. Crystal Palace had a really disjointed pre-season as well. I think there was a lot of the squad that weren't fully vaccinated, therefore they weren't allowed to get into Australia, so they only took the kids, and they've not had a full pre-season, so 3 points absolutely are for the taking here if Villa execute a game plan correctly. and we did last season under Gerrard. It was probably one of the better away performances, if I'm being completely honest. And getting 3 points on the road is not something you should ever scoff at. But I just think whoever starts, I think with Coutinho, I thought he played well. I don't think he had a bad game by any means. But when Buendia came on, he had a point to prove, and he ran an extra 5 yards every single time. He constantly pressured, and because he had a point to prove. Now, I'm not saying if he starts he doesn't do that, but what I want to see from whoever starts in that 10 position is that same energy and dynamism, and really looking to get under the skin of this Crystal Palace midfield, because they're fairly top heavy. You look at the side, they're pretty much set with a 4-2-3-1. Obviously, they didn't play that way against Liverpool because they were kind of trying to defend what they could have had. But if you look at that side, they've got the likes of Jordan Ayew, Wilfried Zaha, Obichi Eze, Michael Elise. In transition, they can cause Villa so many problems, and Wilfried Zaha proved that at Anfield. He's one of the ultimate mid-table ballers. He's unreal, and taking that one chance that they had at Anfield, the one clear chance, the way they did, that is something that worries me. So Villa really need to get under the skin early on. Look to hopefully dominate possession as they did the other day. I know we're away from home, but we did it against Bournemouth. I think if you can get a goal early on and really take the game to Palace, that's how Villa are going to want to approach this. Saying that, though, having possession and dominating them, that kind of does play into their plan under Vieira, which is generally to sort of hit teams on the counter attack fast. The goal from Zaha, again, the goal from Zaha was unreal, guys. I think there's been a lot of people slandering how Van Dijk defended that, but the thing is, if Van Dijk full on sprinted for that, Wilf chops in and he does the same thing. He puts it at the back post, but it's a fantastic goal. He takes it very well, and that's something that Villa have got to look out for, especially Diego Carlos. Wow. Obviously, he's had surgery. Wish him well. He's going to be out for the full season, and centre backs have been a contentious debate. Personally, I think Villa will be looking to bring in another centre half. I just do. I think Gerrard's clearly signed him because he hasn't been as happy with who we currently had on board. But he brought Chambers in January, and I think Chambers and Mings is a fantastic partnership. I think that's something that I would like to see until somebody maybe gets signed. But that's obviously something we're going to have to look at. Is there maybe a bit of ring rust with Chambers? I know obviously he came on towards the end of the game. I can imagine he's sharp. I can imagine everybody is. But, hopefully whoever is starting that game, if Villa are going to be dominating possession, we're going to be camped mainly in their half. Defence will be sat on the halfway line, and one thing that the centre halves have to do is beware of the outball from Palace every single time. The ball that they played, I think it was Eze that played the ball. Wonderful bit of skill to set up Wilfried Zaha, and a fantastic pass to him. And this only worries me because I think every time we play against Crystal Palace, we have this Zaha versus Mings war on the pitch. It's all out war. Wilfried Zaha, he's just he's a tricky cunt. He really is, pardon my French. And Tyrone gets sucked into that bow every single time. I'm hoping that he can rise above it because I think he got sent off in one of the games. I think he was in lockdown at Villa Park, and that kind of puts him in a tricky situation. So I'm hoping that Ty can rise above that, and he was fantastic the other day. By the way, got to give him his credit where that's due. But ultimately, I think the game plan to beat this Crystal Palace side, we've done it before. You just have to look at that away performance that we put in. I think beating them at their own game, I don't necessarily think that not having a lot of possession is actually a bad idea. I think if you want to let Crystal Palace dominate this in terms of possession, and we're going to hit them on the counter attack, I think that's something that we can do. And I think if you look at a lot of the chances that came in that Liverpool game, it was balls to the back stick that Nathaniel Klein just could not deal with. Now, if you're playing two strikers, you're going to play Ings and Watkins. You're going to want one of them peeling off from the centre half, whether that's Gay or whether that's Anderson. And you're going to want them on the fullbacks. Again, it's the same with Mitchell. Mitchell's a fantastic player, by the way, but you're going to want to isolate the fullbacks. You're going to want to get them balls in early, and you're just going to want to put the defence under pressure early on. The one thing that worries me, how many chances did Villa have the other day? I don't. I should have this to hand, but I mean, for example, the Ollie Watkins chance at the end of the game, right? Ollie has to be doing better. Ollie has to put that away. It could be 3-1. It's completely game over, and Villa don't have to worry again. Like the last 10 minutes of that game was unnecessarily chaotic, and I'm not saying it's because Ollie didn't score, but obviously that puts a lot of things to rest if Ollie can put the ball in the back of the net. Um, but yeah, against Everton, you looking at the stats right now. I just managed to pull them up. So Villa had 12 shots, 4 on target. Everton 15, 4 on target. That's too much. Too much shots. And Palace managed in both games against Arsenal. In each game, against Arsenal and Liverpool. Villa are going to have to pick their moments, and actually, it'd be nice if we could be clinical on the counter attack for once. In terms of the lineup, I think it will be pretty similar. I'm going to say Coutinho starts because I think that's just a trend we've seen with Gerrard, but I'd like to see Chambers come in. I'm number one fan, Callum Chambers, Appreciation Society. Love that guy. Doesn't look like he should be as good as at football than he is, but he's sensational. He's fantastic. Weight of pass is always spot on. Knows where he's got to be. Positional sense is fantastic. James and Mings is the partnership for me, unless Villa brings somebody else in. And yeah, I'd say it's fairly unchanged otherwise. I'd like to see Dougie play. I think if we are going to look to hit teams on the counter attack, Dougie's so good at progressing the ball. And that is, I think, something that we missed in the Everton game. I thought JJ was fantastic. I thought McGinn was fantastic as well, just to echo what we mentioned in the last podcast. And I wouldn't have pulled them both off either, but I couldn't help but feel like at times in that game, we needed someone with a bit more quality to drive at that Everton defence. And that's going to be the case in this game, especially if they're going to play a counter-attacking game. We're going to need somebody like Dougie on the pitch who not only can pick a pass, but can carry the ball and is a goal threat as well. So I want to see Dougie. Is that the expense of JJ or McGinn? I'm not the man who's paid to make the decision, so I don't envy Stevie G for having to make that one. But I'd like to see Dougie involved somehow. If you're going to want him to sign a contract, you're going to need to play him in games. That's just it. So I'm gonna end this podcast right now because it's very late. I don't want to wake any of my family up, and my laptop is about to die. I hope the sound quality was okay, and I hope you guys on YouTube could put up with what has been an awful video quality. So you can't forgive me, guys. It's going to be all branded on this because I've still not got all of the new branding for like the solo podcast. But yeah, Dan, if you're watching, if you're listening, I hope you're having a fantastic time. I'm so jealous that you're going to get to watch Isco play. Everybody knows Isco's one of my favourite players. And guys, let us know in the comments down below who you think will start, what your score predictions are, how you're feeling ahead of this game. I think a win on the road here, it rights all the wrongs that we've seen early on in the season. So I'd love to know. And as well, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. That would be really appreciated. It pushes up the ranks. And yeah, we're making a conscious effort to get these out on all platforms so as we can facilitate you guys who are in the gym, if you're, driving to work, if you drive for work, if you do whatever, being on Apple and Spotify is obviously a big thing. So, we're making an effort. So this can be on there for you guys. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, comment your thoughts below. Subscribe for more. All the better.